The Jay and the Peacock. A jay, who felt that he was a very plain bird, came across a pile of peacock feathers on the ground one day. He gathered up a big bunch and then tied them to his tail. Very pleased with himself and the way he now looked, he left his friends behind and strutted towards a group of peacocks. But as he grew closer they saw what he had done, and were angry with him, and pecked the peacock feathers off his tail, and sent him away with his tail between his legs. The jay sadly walked back to his friends, but they weren't impressed. In fact, they were very annoyed with him. Who did he think he was, pretending to be better than them? And the moral of the story is that it is not only fine feathers that make fine birds. It is what you are inside that counts. The Wolf and the Lamb. A lamb was grazing with a flock of sheep one day. She soon found some sweet grass at the edge of the field. Farther and farther she went, away from the others. She was enjoying herself so much that she did not notice a wolf coming nearer to her. However, when it pounced on her, she was quick to start pleading, "Please, please don't eat me yet. My stomach is full of grass. If you wait a while, I will taste much better." The wolf thought that was a good idea, so he sat down and waited. After a while, the lamb said, "If you allow me to dance, the grass in my stomach will be digested faster." Again the wolf agreed. While the lamb was dancing, she had a new idea. She said, "Please take the bell from around my neck. If you ring it as hard as you can, I will be able to dance even faster." The wolf took the bell and rang it as hard as he could. The shepherd heard the bell ringing and quickly sent his dogs to find the missing lamb. The barking dogs frightened the wolf away and saved the lamb's life. The gentle and weak can sometimes be cleverer than fierce and strong. The Man, the Boy and the Donkey. A man and his son were once going with their donkey to market. As they were walking along by its side, a countryman passed them and said, "You fools, what is a donkey for but to ride upon?" So the man put the boy on the donkey and they went on their way. But soon they passed a group of men, one of whom said, "See that lazy youngster, he lets his father walk while he rides." So the man ordered his boy to get off, and got on himself. But they hadn't gone far when they passed two women, one of whom said to the other, "Shame on that lazy lout to let his poor little son trudge along." Well, the man didn't know what to do, but at last he took his boy up before him on the donkey. By this time they had come to the town, and the passers-by began to jeer and point at them. The man stopped and asked what they were scoffing at. The men said, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself for overloading that poor donkey of yours and your hulking son?" The man and boy got off and tried to think what to do. They thought and they thought, till at last they cut down a pole, tied the donkey feet to it, and raised the pole and the donkey to their shoulders. They went along amid the laughter of all who met them till they came to Market Bridge, when the donkey, getting one of his feet loose, kicked out and caused the boy to drop his end of the pole. In the struggle the donkey fell over the bridge, and his forefeet being tied together he was drowned. "That will teach you," said an old man who had followed them. "Please all, and you will please none." The Farmer and His Lazy Sons. In Madonpur lived a very hard-working farmer named Gopal. He has 3 sons, Ram, Laxman and Hanuman. All 3 were strong and healthy. But they were all lazy. Gopal was sad thinking about his sons and the future of his farmland. One day, Gopal got a flash of an idea. He called all his sons and said, "Ram, Laxman, and Hanuman, I have hidden a treasure in our farmland. You search and share the treasure among you." The 3 sons were overjoyed. They went to the fields and started searching. Ram started from one end. Laxman searched from the other end. And Hanuman did so from the center. They dug each and every inch of the field. But they could not find anything. Gopal said to his sons, "Dear boys, now you have tooled and conditioned the field, why not we sow a crop?" Off went the sons to sow the crops. Days passed. Soon, the crops grew lushly green. The sons were delighted. The father said, "Sons, this is the real treasure I wanted you to share." Moral: fruits of hard work are always sweet. The Blind and the Lame Man. Once upon a time, two friends John and George were living in a village. John was physically strong but he was blind, while George was very intelligent but he was disabled, he did not have legs. One day both of them went to the fair held near a river. It was very crowded in the fair. All people were very excited and enjoying the fair. Suddenly fire broke out from a stall. Everyone got panicked and started running around. They were so scared that they didn't think about the direction and they ran everywhere. As John was not able to see and the George was not able to run, so they found it difficult to escape from the fire. Also, as everyone was panicked, so nobody gave attention to them. "I can't see anything and you cannot run. I think today we will burn in this fire," the worried John told the George. George was thinking to get out of the fire. He said, "Let's help each other and escape from this fire," and then he proposed an idea to the John. As per the plan, John carried the George on his shoulders and started to walk as per the George's instructions. Soon they both figured out that it's easier to escape from any bad situation by helping each other. Now they both wanted to help others. George asked John to take him to the announcement booth. John, who was physically very strong, carried George on his shoulders and walked towards the booth. "Dear ladies and gentlemen, please calm down. Don't get panicked. We can control this fire and can save thousands of lives. But if you will run like this, then people may die because of stampede," George announced on the mic. But the panicked people were not able to hear the announcement. George repeated his urge many times and then he said, "There is a river nearby. If we all help, then we can stop this fire. I don't have legs and my friend doesn't have eyes, but we are trying to help others. I request all of you to help each other in this critical situation." Few young men heard the George's urge, and they raised their hands for help. They collected all the containers from the fair and filled those with the river water and poured that into the fire. Soon other people also joined hand, and then they all lined up to pass the filled and empty containers from river to the fire spot and vice versa. Because of everyone's help, the fire was controlled. John and George not only help each other, but they helped everyone to come out from a bad situation. The cracked pot. Once upon a time there was a water bearer in India who had two large pots, each hung on each end of a pole which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, and while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream to the master's house, the cracked pot arrived only half full. For a full 2 years this went on daily, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pot full of water in his master's house. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, perfect to the end for which it was made. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection, and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. "I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you." "Why?" asked the bearer. "What are you ashamed of?" "I have been able, for these past 2 years, to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your master's house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all of this work and you don't get full value from your efforts," the pot said. The water bearer felt sorry for the old cracked pot, and in his compassion he said, "As we return to the master's house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wild flowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt bad because it had leaked out half its load, and so again it apologized to the bearer for its failure. The bearer said to the pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of your path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your flaw, and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years I have been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without you being just the way you are, he would not have this beauty to grace his house. Each of us has our own unique flaw. But it's the cracks and flaws we each have that make our lives together so very interesting and rewarding. You've just got to take each person for what they are and look for the good in them."
The Farmer and the Sparrows. Manyapa was a farmer. He worked from dawn to dusk in his field. Amidst the crops in the field, a sparrow had built a nest. She roosted in the nest. She got 2 children. The little sparrows lived with their mother happily. Days passed by, and the harvesting season fast approached. The corns were ripe, and everywhere people started their harvests. The little sparrows said to their mother, "Mummy, we will have to fly away." The mother sparrow replied, "Not so soon, babies. The farmer is not ready." One day, they heard the farmer saying, "I must call my neighbors and make them do the harvest." The little sparrows said, "Mummy, tonight we shall fly away." The mother said, "Not so soon, babies. The farmer won't make it." The words of the mother came true. The neighbors did not turn up the next day. The farmer was heard saying, "I will call my relatives and make them do the harvest." This time also the little ones wanted to fly away. But the mother asked them to relax. Once again, the words of the mother came true. Now, they heard the farmer saying, "Tomorrow I will do the harvest myself." On hearing these words, the mother said, "Come, my children. It is time for us to leave this field." Moral: self-help is always respected. The Wolf and the Lamb. One day, a wolf saw a lamb drinking water from the same source down at some distance. The cunning wolf thought of a plan to fool the lamb and eat him. So he shouted down at the lamb, "How dare you make the water dirty I am drinking?" "You must be mistaken, sir," said the poor lamb gently. "The water flows from you to me and not from me to you. So, I am not making the water dirty for you." The wolf began thinking cunningly of some other talk to make an issue. "Do you remember calling me with all sorts of abusive words, just a year ago?" said the wolf to the lamb. The lamb replied, "But, sir, I was not born a year ago." The wolf said in a loud voice, "Then your father must have abused me long ago." The lamb said, "I apologize on behalf of my father. You are arguing with me. Let me teach you and your family a good lesson." Saying this, the wolf jumped upon the poor lamb and killed him and ate him. Moral: any excuse will serve a wicked person. The man, horse, ox, and dog. A horse, ox, and dog, driven to great straits by the cold, sought shelter and protection from man. He received them kindly, lighted a fire, and warmed them. He let the horse make free with his oats, gave the ox an abundance of hay, and fed the dog with meat from his own table. Grateful for these favors, the animals determined to repay him to the best of their ability. For this purpose, they divided the term of his life between them, and each endowed one portion of it with the qualities which chiefly characterized himself. The horse chose his earliest years and gave them his own attributes. Hence every man is in his youth impetuous, headstrong, and obstinate in maintaining his own opinion. The ox took under his patronage the next term of life, and therefore man in his middle age is fond of work, devoted to labor, and resolute to amass wealth and to husband his resources. The end of life was reserved for the dog, wherefore the old man is often snappish, irritable, hard to please, and selfish, tolerant only of his own household, but averse to strangers and to all who do not administer to his comfort or to his necessities.
Hey, like the video, subscribe the channel and press bell icon for latest update.